I'm sure it's him, his shitty signal. So he's been going to Facebook.
Why? Don't be talking about Dean's shitty signal.
Sorry, Dean.
We're live.
You need to tell me.
I said I was going live. I just told you. It's time to go. It's time to go.
Well, we're live on YouTube.
There we go. All the good stuff. All the good stuff.
Yay.
All right. Let's start with our little starting soon. I love this guy. This was amazing. I was like mad. I was so mad. It was like right out there, like a low-hanging fruit. And this guy just knocked it out of the park. Here we go.
He did.
All the conspiracy theories come out around it too. I don't know what to believe. All I do know is that if our government tried to do an assassination attempt, that's kind of how it would look. Right? It was very inefficient. That was the DMV of assassination attempt. It's not good. They had a very small budget, you could tell. They wanted to do it with a grassy knoll at a parade like they were used to. They're like, we can't swing that. We got to do a tin roof at a town fair. That's all we got. Can't get any ex-military people to take the shot. Let's get the kid who came in last place on his marksman team. That apparently high schools have marksman teams. I've never tried it. Dude, that was just one big government block of cheese. Like, that's all that was. It was insane. I was hoping Trump was going to come out the same day, ear still bleeding, and do the press conference. They tried to shoot me. They tried to shoot me. They were too slow, and I'm too fast. I dodged the bullet. They didn't even see it. I saw it coming from so far away. It was like the Matrix. It was all in slow motion. Call me Neo, I'm the chosen one. They say he was a Republican, that's what they'll tell you. They'll say he was a Republican that shot, but I'll tell you right now, he shoots like a liberal. I'll tell you that, he shoots like a liberal. Not straight, so not straight. They said it was a fake bullet, that's what they said. It was a real bullet. We found the bullets. Turns out the bullets, they were made in China. That's where they were made. They were little teeny tiny Chinese bullets, so small, so tiny. I shot the guy back. They cut the cameras. They didn't show you that. It was me who shot him. I pulled out my Glock and I shot him right in the fucking face. That's what I did. Crazy.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the Boomer Bunker. I am the Duchess. Speaking on behalf of John Domingo, everything we say or discuss on this show is for entertainment purposes. If you disagree with anything either of us says on this show, and you're not operating motor vehicle or under the influence of alcohol or narcotics, please feel free to tell us your thoughts in the chat. If you're listening to this as a downloaded podcast file, you can write to us at boomer.bunker@gmail.com or tweet us at boomer_bunker on X. My advice is to look at the world we live in, realize you complaining to us about it isn't fixing anything, and then continue on with your life. If anything we say during the show offends you, please feel free to watch a different stream, shut the podcast off, or smash your device with a hammer. Boomer Bunker is not liable for damages to equipment by choosing the latter. If you have made it this far into the show and have decided you can live with these terms, then by all means, give your balls a tug, slap yourself in the face a few times, grab a cup of whatever pisses you off, and please enjoy the show.
Welcome into the Boomer Bunker. One day I'll be able to figure out which buttons to touch at the right time. Apparently I can't hit a button right. I hit
Just need to know what to finger
starts,
first,
and then
that's
I don't
all.
think it starts, so I hit it again and it shuts off. None of you will know that because I'll fix it in post. Hello everybody. Welcome to the bunker. I'm one of your hosts, John Domingo. Over there, that's the Duchess.
Good evening. hell of an intro, John. Thank you.
Listen, you're lucky I'm even here tonight. I was like, I'm sitting there today, and I'm like, it's like 5 o'clock, and I'm sleepy and tired. I'm like,
Yep.
oh, we got to do a show tonight. What's going on here? This is
Who thought Sunday was a
horrible.
good idea?
Yeah, who came up with Sunday? It's like enough to do during the week. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I'm telling you, it's definitely something that I'm not used to. All right, I have a house guest right now, and
Oh, you've been a little busy.
well, that, and also like I'm off my routine. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And no, don't get me wrong, love having her here. It's been fantastic, but you're like on your best behavior, and being on my best behavior for a week.
It's exhausting
now,
for you.
It's terrible.
I'm so tired. I got to behave all the time.
Yeah, I gotta be nice and
Poor Samantha.
jovial.
I have to be nice
I
and
have
polite.
to be nice. Yeah.
You got to remember someone else is there. Yeah.
Okay. I forgot to talk about this last week, so I'm going to start off this week. So everybody said, John, you have to go out and watch Tropic Thunder. It is the funniest movie. It's amazing. You have to watch this. All right.
And
I watched Tropic Thunder, and I'm going to give you my honest impression of it because I had time to think about this.
Okay.
Eh.
Oh, shame on you.
So again, maybe it's the fact that everybody told me I was overhyped. I'm waiting for this amazing movie. Don't get me wrong. There were
Right.
some great scenes in there. Okay.
Yes.
Like when the director came in and he stepped on a landmine and it just exploded and everybody thought that it was a trick.
It was
And they didn't realize that they were actually out there and there was actually Viet Cong and
Yeah.
again,
Oh, it was brilliantly done. The movie in the movie I thought was, well, it was just like the movie in the movie. The character casting I thought was great. Tom Cruise killed that for me. And I'm not an enormous Tom Cruise fan, but his role was phenomenal. I love Les Grossman with the big hands. Like that's just so great.
All right, it took me a while to figure that it was actually Tom Cruise. That took
I
me a
didn't know
while.
until the end of the movie. Yep.
Okay, so I get that. I get that. The house guest did not watch this with me. I actually watched it last week. Forgot to talk about it. But I figured I would go and I would start off today, so I would do it. But here's one thing about the house guest. The house guest likes to watch TV, and the house guest says, we watched couple really good movies. Like we saw this one movie with Mark Wahlberg and what's her name? The black girl, short hair, Halle Berry, and it was called
Halle Berry. Yeah.
Yeah, Halle.
Oh,
Halle. It was called the heist. No, not the heist. The something. The people. The
I've not seen it, but I've seen the trailers
the
for
option,
it.
the office, the something. And that was pretty good. That was pretty good. But here's the thing with me, is I like authenticity. In other words, like when something happens, I'm like, that would never happen that way. There's just no way that this would happen. Budweiser says, I got offended by the Smurf face. What's the Smurf face? Was this in Tropic Thunder, the Smurf face?
Robert Downey Jr.
Black. No. Smurf face. I get it now.
Yeah.
No, Robert Downey
The
Jr.
Union was the movie, by the way.
The Union. That's it. The Union. And it was, it was a pretty good movie, but there was, again, it's an action movie.
It can't be for like a serious. I mean, it's Halle Berry, so it can't be like high. I'm sure it was good,
That's
but
true.
like there's probably a little humor touched in there. I'm
Right.
Sure.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I understand
Die
when it
Hard,
can be
you know.
secret agents, but she's out there kicking people's asses and killing people and all. And
Do you mind? You got to see Halle Berry in tight pants. Like I'm sure that was not a
she
terrible
had some
thing to
tight
watch.
pants on.
I haven't seen it, and I guessed so. She's probably
in
better in
leather.
that than she was in the last James Bond when she was a James Bond girl, which was
She's in leather
terrible
pants
movie.
all the time. And
Yeah,
she's got a
she's
short
gorgeous.
haircut where she's kind of got the white hair that goes across the top. Kind of like yours, but more. She
Okay.
looks phenomenal. I mean, what is she? How
She's
old's
beautiful.
Halle Berry. How
She's
old?
in her 50s,
Good Lord, she's 50 years
Yeah.
old?
50 plus. I want to say mid 50s.
How old is she? I'll tell you what, you want to talk about
I'm gonna look right
black
now.
not cracking. My God.
She is 58. She's 50 fucking 8 years old. She's born in 1966.
Jesus.
She's stunningly beautiful.
She could be. She looks like she's 30.
Yeah,
she looks like she's half her age.
Yeah, she does.
Now, she was
so
poured
pretty.
into a leather outfit, but
remember, she's also Catwoman once too. More leather.
Sparky says how much surgery she had. You know what? I bet you she's.
I don't know. It still looks great on her though.
Yeah,
I mean, if there's surgery, it's very natural.
Oh my God, the surgeon's a miracle worker because you cannot tell that she had surgery. She just.
Bob's
stunning.
had some comments on Rumble.
Bob says Twitch sucks. Halle Berry's best role was in Swordfish, when she shows her titties in Swordfish.
Okay. I don't know.
We're watching Swordfish after this.
I've heard it's a classic.
Yeah, there was a couple other shows we were watching that were pretty good. Oh, there was this one show with it was the last season of it. It was called Umbrella something. It had
It's the Umbrella Academy, I think.
I think that's it. It was the Umbrella Academy, and it had Elliot. That was Ellen
Page.
Yeah, Ellen
Elliot
Page.
Page.
It turned into Elliot Page.
She looks awful. Yeah.
But you know what? I'll be honest with you. She passes as a young dude now. She does
she
pass
kind
as
of
a young
looked like
dude.
a dude anyway. Like it's. I just feel.
I don't know that. She's got the zipper tits now.
Oh, it's
Zipper tits. Or zipper marks where the tits used to be. Whatever. Yeah, so I've been watching a lot. You know what I have not been doing is listening to podcasts. And I'm jonesing. I'm jonesing for podcasts that I want to listen to. There's a lot of them out there that that I got to go back and listen to. I did listen to Joe Rogan talk to Dennis Quaid, because Dennis Quaid's putting out that picture about Reagan where he plays Reagan.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
That's coming out. I definitely would like to see that. Oh, you know what I watched last night was Twister, the new one. The new one you can get on Amazon Prime for $19.95.
Ugh. You paid $20 for that?
Yeah. Here's the thing about Twister. Welcome to Boomer Bunker Movie Reviews. All right, so the new Twister came out, and it almost follows the same script as the old Twister, almost.
Okay.
Like I knew it was coming. I knew how it was going to end. And so it was okay. I'll tell you what.
Glenn Powell's cute. Not mad at that.
What's that?
Glenn Powell, the lead.
Oh, is that who the guy is?
Yeah, he's kind of cute.
Yeah, he's kind of handsome. The girl in the movie that was supposed to be the Helen Hunt character.
Yeah, well.
She was okay. She's cute. She was cute in Oklahoma. She was an Oklahoma 7. A New Jersey 5 and a Las Vegas 4.
Aw, poor thing.
She was all right. It wasn't bad. The special effects were a lot better in this one than the one they made 30 years ago. No flying cows. Why was there no flying?
Well,
I didn't want to spoil it. Sorry.
Spoilers, no cow.
No cows. But yeah, so watching a lot of movies and watching a lot of TV. Speaking of flying cows.
Bob says it'll be free next week.
You think so?
Probably.
It might be.
It could be. I might watch it if the price drops. I'm not paying $20.
Well, I looked at it this way. If I went to the movie theaters.
Oh, you pay a lot more money. I wouldn't pay to see it in the theaters at all anyway, so I wouldn't pay $20 to watch it.
Right.
I'll wait till it drifts out. I don't care.
Russian tourist who tried to rape a cow is gored by the animal.
Whoops.
All right, so here's a Russian goes to Taiwan. Is that where this was? Thailand. I'm sorry, Thailand, not Taiwan. Goes to Thailand and then decides to rape a cow.
He was a little tweaky.
Couldn't rape a cow in Russia? I mean, are we kidding here?
Well, I mean, communism and all. Maybe there was no cows to be had.
Okay. All right, this 26-year-old gentleman that I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name.
Evgeny Gvushnikov. I don't know. Insert Russian name here.
Right. Is said to have stripped off and sidled over to a male bull.
Oh my God.
And then
He
said,
looks good.
well, I'm no homo. And then turned his attention to a female and that was tied to the wooden fence. And he allegedly tried to mount the cow, only for the cow to react violently, pinning him to the ground and goring him.
Can I interrupt
locals,
1 second?
Sure.
Budvugger says, in Mother Russia, you don't rape cows. Cows rape you.
Cows rape you.
It's so good.
Well, I did
And
something.
Mike wants to know if he lasted 8 seconds.
I don't think so. Concerned locals who suspected the Russian was up to no good when they saw him prowling naked around the cows had already called the police.
Prowling.
And they also heard his cries
Ew.
for help while he was being attacked and stood, hey, look, there's the cow giving him the business. I love it. See, this is what's great about Thailand. In other words, instead of just like trying to help the guy, they just sit there and took pictures. He's perfectly centered in the picture. He's naked, and it looks like the cow's...
How now, brown cow? I mean, holy shit.
as the cow
Oh, my
attacks
goodness.
him.
Damn.
All right. So, and then imagine you got to be like a first responder and you come over here and this guy is, what's he doing? He tried to rape a cow and then the cow's like,
Yeah,
fuck him.
that's
Leave him
gross.
there.
Literally.
Just let
Yeah.
let the
Literally
guy
fuck
just
him.
sit there and die. So they got to come out there and they got to pick him up and put him on a stretcher, take him
Sure,
to the
yeah.
hospital.
Nice comfy ride on the bumpy roads and Lord knows what kind of vehicle.
Right. Police and paramedics arrived at the scene and carried the Russian away on a stretcher. He was taken to a hospital to be treated for wounds on his bottom and abrasions all over his body.
Ouch.
The paramedics said that they suspect he was trying to have sex with the cow.
What tipped you off? The naked guy chasing a cow?
We also found cannabis in his car, so maybe he was high. How fucking high do you have to be to look at a cow? Maybe he thought he was in a bar. Maybe he thought it was Lizzo. Let's go back and look at the cow.
Oh,
Let's see.
that's mean.
Maybe he thought it was Lizzo. I don't know.
So mean.
Is it terrible?
Yes.
They received the report of a foreign man in an altercation with a cow. But again, in Thailand,
Is that how you write the report? An
Yes.
altercation?
The officer said the cow charged the suspect when he was trying to restrain it by holding its head, and he was lucky that the rescue team arrived to save him. Now,
I fought the cow and the cow won. Oh, my
I
goodness.
don't know. I mean, what do you do? Like in the United States, they would arrest the cow. They would have arrested the cow.
I don't know. That whole thing is just disgusting. Like, stop. Leave these poor animals alone. They're
It's
just minding their
possible
own
he was
business.
trying to make love to the cow, but we can't say for sure. There was no semen on the cow. Oh, he didn't even get a chance to
Oh.
finish?
There's a cock block right there. Cow block? I don't know. Holy crap.
We
Not
sent him to the
right.
hospital because he was injured on his bottom, but then he went crazy at the hospital, and the doctors wouldn't admit him. So now he's being detained at our police station. We are
Dummy, you
waiting
could have been in the hospital enjoying some drugs.
Right.
Dummy.
Now we are waiting for the tourist police and immigration police to work on it. Then we can conduct an investigation. They said that they interviewed the cow, and the cow said,
Moo comment. Bob says this gives cow tipping a new meaning.
yeah. Apparently the cow tipped him.
Oh.
In Mother Russia, you don't cow tip you.
I think it rimmed him. I don't know. He was not happy.
I was trying to see if the cow had horns, but I couldn't see any horns.
I
'cause the
thought it
cows-
did. Go back to the
Let me
picture.
go
You
back to
could
the
see it.
picture. Hang on, let me go
Yeah.
back and see if I see horns. All right, let's go
I think
back
in
to
the
the
beginning.
picture.
Now we'll have to look. We'll share these photos after the show.
I don't see horns.
What's the? Is that
I
his
see
leg
a leg.
across
It
the
looks
top?
like it looks like he has his head like he's trying to give this cow a figure 4 around the neck. but I don't see any horns.
I think that cow is wrestling with him. Like, get the fuck off me.
Unless the horn is up the old butthole. Besides that, I don't
keister?
know. But,
I don't
yeah,
I
you
don't
got
know
him in
if
a
I wanna-
keister.
We're having beef tonight. I had it last night.
I had some beef last night.
It was super tender. Yick. Thank you, Bob.
Alabama, I got a story from Alabama, Bob's neck of the woods, because Bob puts some stories in here, and it's usually from this television station.
Oh, dear.
So here we go.
Let's see what happens.
3,000 registered voters in Alabama just got booted from the state voter rolls. That's after the Secretary of State, Wes Allen, ordered the removal of all non-citizens who were registered. But how did non-citizens get registered in the first place? WAFF 48's Nick Ballinger spoke to the Secretary of State to get to the bottom of this story. Nick?
Yeah, Margo, when I asked Secretary Allen how these people got registered to vote in the first place, he couldn't give me a clear answer just yet, saying it was still being investigated. But when he gave me a breakdown of how many there were in each county, the numbers were glaring. This is a list from Secretary of State Wes Allen of how many non-citizens were registered to vote in our counties. The state found 3,251 people. 742 of them were from North Alabama.
We got the information. We cross-checked it against our centralized data file here in the state of Alabama and found those 3,200 individuals.
The information he's talking about are people with alien registration numbers. Those are issued to immigrants who intend to live in this country permanently and have already applied for a green card. However, you're not eligible to vote with just an alien identification number. When I asked Allen how 3,000 plus were able to register in the first place, he couldn't give me the answer.
But it's our belief that only American citizens should be allowed to vote. Non-citizens, whether they're legal or illegal immigrants, cannot register to vote. It's a federal offense.
To vote.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a law, people.
Yeah, but you know what? Good for Alabama. Good for Alabama to check those rolls. What states in the you think Pennsylvania's doing this? Like every
I hope so.
every state should go over their voter rolls
Every year. Every year.
remove all the dead people, remove all the people that have moved, and get rid of all your illegal aliens that there are in your state, so they can't vote. Right? Is that too much to ask that we have
They shouldn't be in that database. Like there's certain levels of your database. It'd be like, okay, they've started this, they've done that, they're here. They have their alien identification number, which sounds amazingly like an EIN, but it's an AIN. And, I would think that legal citizens should be next to okay to vote. Like you can't click one without the other. Like they shouldn't have that. Let's give them voter ID cards. That shouldn't even be. Like, they shouldn't even be eligible. How are they on the roll? They shouldn't make it to that point. Like, there should be a couple, safeguards there. And including, legal citizen should be one of them.
Sparky Tosa says BA has a Dem governor. PA will not be doing this. I can guarantee it. I think you're right.
I don't know. Maybe Josh Shapiro might be sharpening down because maybe he's a little salty right now. I mean, not for nothing. It's like 80 days. What's fucking 80 days? Are we doing anything at this point?
We're going to get into that. Budvugger says there isn't any new for the Dems. They did the same thing with dead people when JFK got elected. Okay.
For a second term?
One-term president.
He didn't even finish. How rude.
It's kind of hard to finish when your brains are splattered all over the back of a limousine. Doesn't work well.
I guess that, never mind. I don't Nothing. I'm letting that go. Oh, never mind.
Come on.
You never
I don't
go.
like when you do that.
No, I drifted off on it and I didn't have it fully formed. So, sorry.
All right.
My bad.
So, speaking of the election, they're out stumping Trump and Kamala and our buddy J.D. Vance and then Tim Walz, the old guy. And let's start off with Donald Trump, because to be honest with you, this is going to be a problem this election if Kamala Harris and Walz win, because they're full-on socialist, Marxist, communists. But then again, I repeat myself.
All the ists.
All the ists.
Yes.
Where the fuck is this at? Where? Oh, here it is. I'm so sorry.
Kamala went full communist. You heard
Full
that?
commie.
She went full communist. She wants to destroy our country. After causing catastrophic
Never go full communist.
inflation, Comrade Kamala announced.
She really needs a nickname. Comrade
Comrade Kamala. That's
I like
good.
Comrade Kamala. That's my favorite so far.
Yes.
If I can't get Scamula,
I saw
then
Kamala.
it's too Kamala kind of rolls off the tongue. Yeah, he has not been able to attack her too well. And the other thing is, because she's a woman, but although, you know what? He did the same thing with Crooked Hillary. Where's the emails, Hillary? You had the computer in the basement, 30,000 emails. Where'd they go?
Her server. Yep.
Yeah, the server. Puff Rugger says, you're saying you can't say Cuntilla. Well, that's...
Oh, yeah, probably not.
That would be Cuntilla. I like Cuntilla. It's never going to work. But I think...
I like it with the accent. It's different way than
Sparky said,
Cuntilla.
okay, we'll get into that. There's another... Put a pin in that, Sparky. I want to get back to that. Let's have Trump finish this up.
She wants to institute socialist price controls. You saw that. Never worked before. Never, ever worked. This is the Maduro plan, Venezuela. Maduro plan of like the old Soviet Union. They tried it. How did the Soviet Union work out? It became Russia, a smaller version. It was a smaller version.
See, it was Soviet Union, big country. They went to price control, small country. Big country, price control, small country. That's what Commie Kamala wants to do here.
It will cause rationing, hunger, and skyrocketing prices, just like their Inflation Reduction Act caused, one of the great scams of all time. They got it approved with a beautiful name, Inflation Reduction, because inflation under their system has been so bad. It's gone up much more than 50%. You know, they say 30, 40, 50, much more. People are being devastated. They're being devastated.
Devastated.
I'm devastated.
I mean, everything she said, and then everything
He has
that
got
she
to say on his message, and
Yeah,
he's got to stop name calling
right.
because it's. I think it's detracting from the importance of what he's trying to do, and he needs to not keep this as like a fourth grade schoolyard taunt, but he really needs to drive the message home.
How is he losing?
Because of that.
I understand it, but you know,
every 99% of the press is just blowing her up, and who knows if those polls are even accurate? You don't know that she's. Yeah, well, exactly.
I hope, this is what I hope. First of all,
Thank you,
I
Sparky.
hope that the press, the polls are what they say. So then Democrats are like, we don't need to do this. We got this in the bag. And then the Republicans come out because that's what happened in 2016.
It absolutely was.
They
slept on that. He didn't even encourage people going to the. Oh no, I'm sorry. For 2020, he didn't encourage people going to the polls even.
Yeah, don't. No,
He's like,
you know what he
don't
did?
go. Stay home.
He said, don't use the mail-in ballots. Don't do that. Now he's like, mail them in and go vote. Vote.
Twice as nice.
Yeah, be a Democrat. Mail it in, then go vote. Who knows? Might work. I blame liberal white women for everything that goes wrong in this country.
You have always blamed liberal white women for everything.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong? They are the dumbest.
I know there's some liberal white men that are pretty fucking dumb too.
Oh, okay.
But yes.
Yeah, liberal
women do seem to make a lot of noise.
Right.
Yes.
And they're out there. And then here's a stupid white woman for Harris.
I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I'm stealing from Peter to pay Paul. And I know it's cyclical. I know, you can't blame the sitting president for everything that's wrong. You can't blame past presidents for everything that's wrong. But come on, guys. We've got to do something.
Again, that was earlier this summer. I checked in with Michelle again after President Biden dropped out of the race.
How do you feel about the race now?
This is going to sound crazy, but I feel better because I don't know. I said on my last interview, like, don't really hear from Kamala, but I think I'm with Kamala. I've watched her. I think she She has to get her feet wet. She was only the vice president. Like,
Yeah, let's put somebody in there that's
only the vice president,
Yeah.
second in fucking command, but only.
When Biden was doing all of this, she was the one vote that
She broke a lot of ties.
Yeah, she broke the tie in the Senate for the Inflation Reduction Act.
Yeah.
So she, that is hers. Hang that around her neck. She was also put in charge of the border. The border, we know, is a fucking disaster.
The border
And right
schmuck.
now, she's trying to distance herself from the Biden administration, like it wasn't the Biden-Harris administration. And these dumb white liberal bitches.
Well, this ding dong isn't even. She's like, well, it'll be okay.
But I think a woman running this country. Oh
No,
God,
not that one.
Oh God, I hope.
I'm losing paycheck.
She's got a vagina. You know
You're eating
that?
chicken out of a dumpster, lady, and you think it's getting better? You think life is going to get better in the next 4 years if you vote for that moron? Oh my God.
Well,
oh my God.
Again, I think it's day 30 that Kamala
Bidenomics.
We're very proud of Bidenomics. That's what we call Bidenomics, and we're very proud of Bidenomics.
Fuck her.
You know what it isn't? It's not Harrisonomics because,
Yeah, it's true.
Bidenomics. And that old guy, I know I was there. And, yeah, but kind of, it wasn't really me. I was told what to do, and I was a good soldier. And now we're going to fix everything. You know everything that the administration I was in and part of, the second in command.
And had
everything?
a ton of influence on? I know I didn't do shit.
Right. All that.
That one? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, day one, we're changing it all. For 3.5 years, I couldn't fix the border. But now, if you make me president.
As if by magic. Yeah.
I will fix the border. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Vote blue no matter who, like Sparky says. Yep.
Look, every Sunday, J.D. Vance is out there doing interviews, meet the press. He'll be out there. He'll go out there anywhere. Kamala Harris, nope. Tim Walz.
She doesn't have to. She doesn't have to. Because when you have the press shoving all this bullshit in your face,
joyful
100% backing her.
Yeah. She's a joyful warrior. She's a fucking
hate
moron. But she's a joyful warrior moron. So J.D. Vance was
most
on,
morons are joyful.
He was on today. He was on one of the Sunday shows, and I love this.
Because the American people just don't buy the idea that Kamala Harris, who has been vice president for 3.5 years, is somehow going to tackle the inflation crisis in a way tomorrow that she hasn't for the past 1,300 days. Giving Kamala Harris control over inflation policy, Shannon, it's like giving Jeffrey Epstein control over human trafficking policy. The American people are much smarter than that. They don't buy the idea that Kamala Harris represents a fresh start. She is more of the same. It is doubling down on the failed policies of the Harris administration to give Kamala Harris a promotion rather than to fire her, which is what I think most Americans are going to do on November.
I like Shannon Bream. I like her.
I would have loved to hear what she said after this because, I don't know, I just get, well, again, let's talk about this. So this is, so she wants to take and have price controls, kind of like what Venezuela did and kind of like what Russia did. And this is on CNN, and this one guy's like, what is she out of her fucking mind?
She was very effective at laying out just how hard hit the American people have been by the policies of the Biden-Harris agenda. I mean, inflation is the number one issue, food prices, housing costs, the housing shortage. All of that is absolutely true. And she and Joe Biden are in charge, and she has directly cast votes that have led to these conditions. So I don't know how she plans to separate herself from Joe Biden on this, because everything she talked about today, she has a direct hand in. The other thing that I picked up on today was this whole notion that price gouging, or gauging, as she called it, is what people are feeling. That is a total canard. This is not true. This is made up because they're trying to deflect attention from the actual inflation that has caused everything in your life to get more expensive. So they need the American people to believe something other than the truth. There is no price gouging. Grocery stores, these things, they operate on very slim profit margins. There is no gouging. There is just inflation. So to go out and say, I'm going to get the federal government involved in setting prices or capping prices or interrupting the flow of the free market economy, let me tell you something. If you like bread lines, product shortages, black markets, hoarding, If you want to recreate the happy economic conditions of The Walking Dead, Kamala Harris has a plan for you. The bottom line is the Republicans are going to be all over this. It's not smart, and it's a plan from a ticket that has no private sector experience and no interest whatsoever in.
What is this one black chick over here smiling? She's got a big stupid smile on her face. I don't even know who she is, but she's annoying.
She may not disagree with that guy. The woman in the middle, and again, we'll share these links after the show. The woman in the middle looks super annoyed.
Yeah.
For everything they have done to plunge the working class of the United States of America into an economic crisis.
And the thing is, CNN can't even cover this up. And like they're trying to happy walk her, this joyful warrior bullshit.
This moron warrior, yeah.
And I got to tell you, I mean, the more you listen to, and it's hard because the mainstream media is just, again, Jody B. ball washing everything that's out there, for her, and everything. And Trump, everything that Trump does, they attack Trump, they attack J.D. Vance, and Tampon Tim and Commie Kamala. They just get a pass on everything. If you dig into what that Tampon Tim Walz did in Minnesota, it's shocking.
Well, just allowing the city to burn, just to allow it to be destroyed and just let it go and let it burn and just get ruined and then begrudgingly send some troops in days later.
Well, what's happened was the police killed a black man who was resisting arrest and then took a whole bunch of fentanyl. And then, he died, but the police had his knee on his chest. And then so they were very upset. So what we need to do? We need to let the blacks, they have to be able to burn down the city. They have to get their feelings out. And the way they get their feelings out is to destroy a city, burn it to the ground. And we should let them do that because, white guilt and white privilege and whiteness. We should let them. I understand how they feel. So I'm going to let them burn the city down for 3 days while I sit on my thumb. I put one thumb in my mouth and I put one thumb up my ass. And every 15 minutes, I switch them. I do that for 3 days. And then when I'm ready to call in the National Guard, I get my daughter to tell everybody where they're going to be so that then the criminals, the people that are burning down the city, they can get out of the way so they don't get arrested. Oh, and then, what we do then? The ones that do get caught, the real dumb ones, the ones that we couldn't save from being caught, what we do then is we have Kamala Harris come in and fund the bail to get them out. Isn't that great?
Yeah,
because,
so you won't be in jail for long.
Right. Because it's okay. See the thing about the black people? We as white people, we believe that they're savages. And we have to let the savages get this out. Right? Is that the way the Democrats feel? They feel that black people are stupid and savages. Where you and I, Duchess, believe that black people are just as capable, just as intelligent, and want the same things for their family, safety. They want to be able to feed their families. They want to be able to go to work. They want to be able to send their kids to school. They want their kids to get a good education.
Life. People want a decent life.
Right. That's how you and I feel. But the Democrats, the blacks are, they once were slaves. And we kind of brought them around. They're not really, in other words, we give them, just give them some stuff. And hopefully, every 4 years, we could tell the blacks how good we are to them. And they'll vote for us. So far, it's working.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of black people that are starting to realize the Democratic Party is really not for them.
Oh, you think?
It's really, well, I'm hoping.
Well, let's find out.
Because there are people in such a, they're in such a cycle now. It's generational. And they can't or are unable to break out of it. Some people aren't. But if you're able to and really sit down, and if you're worried about crime in your neighborhood and drugs and guns and things that are just not right and happening, you have to look. I mean, a lot of people look to the top of the political cycle. They look at the president. They look at the vice president. You have much more impact in your own community with your local elections. And I think people don't think that way, and they either don't vote or just don't. I think a lot of people just don't vote. I can't tell you, when I see our local election results, if a quarter of our town shows up to vote, that's a big day.
That's ridiculous.
You know, the only time people show up is presidential elections. And that's what gets people out.
But
and
the goddamn white liberal women, they're out there voting. Well, I'll tell you what, they love to do voting.
Some of them do. There were some, as you know, my husband was involved in local politics. So we've had people that would be like, I voted for you. We definitely, for him and this and that. And then, but they forget, you can look at voter rolls. Like, you can look at people who are registered. That's a lot of the things that both sides will pull up and do research and put walking lists and things like that together. And all these folks that would always say to us, like, we voted for you, this and that. I'm like, you're not even registered. You ain't registered to vote. Like, you lying sack of shit. Like, they took lawn signs and then promoted, and then they're like, we voted for you. I'm like, you didn't. You're not even a registered voter. You've lived here 10 years. Like, first of all, I don't know how you moved to anywhere and not register to vote. To me, it's like, register to vote, get your library card, Right, John?
256 says, but John, incarceration rates are down. That must mean the streets are safer.
Obviously. Or we don't report it. Yeah.
We don't report it because if you report black
false
crime,
numbers,
you might have to do something about it. But, okay, whatever. Sparky, I'm very upset with you. I vote local. I'm done with federal elections. Not playing that game anymore. No.
You have to vote, Sparky.
You have to vote this year in the federal election. And not only do
Republicans
that,
slept on it last time.
Yeah, you got to go out and get 10 of your friends, 10 of your Republican friends, and then
Sparky,
what you
have
need
to vote
do,
10 times.
No, you got to get your 10 of your Republican friends, and then what you need to do is go out and find all your liberal friends, and then take and ice pick their tires so they can't get out to vote.
Well, see, but you can vote for like a week now. So, like, and actually, Sparky. I don't. Oh, go ahead. Oh, Sparky.
I'm sorry, Sparky says no. He's not going to vote in the federal election. Sparky, you have
Sparky.
to. Sparky, come on, Sparky. We need you. I don't have liberal friends. No, you don't. You have to take your Republican
well, that I
friends
don't blame
to the poll,
you.
and then you find out all the liberals in your neighborhood, and you
have to counter their vote.
Yeah, don't.
If anything, block their
swipe
vote.
the tires because that costs a lot of money. What you do is you take a pair of side cutters and you cut the valve stem. They're only like $2 to put them on. Yeah, and then you just then it takes a while to fix it. They can't go vote that day. Great
Boomer
idea.
Bunker does not back John Domingo saying to cut tires /
Of course,
tires.
I'm kidding.
I know.
Sorta.
Kind of.
This would be shit that the Democrats do. Democrats.
It's the Democrats.
Right. I mean, some black people ain't buying this Biden-Harris.
I think
bullshit.
a lot of people are. Yeah.
Like this gentleman.
It's comical to me that people are believing this nonsense of, on day one, we're going to fix illegal immigration. We're going to fix inflation. When day one for Kamala Harris was 3.5 years ago. And quite frankly, she's the reason why we're having these issues today. Because when she came into office, she was in charge of trying to find the root causes of illegal immigration and slowing down the border crisis. And guess what? She recommended and enacted all the policies that rose illegal immigration. She's the reason why we have this inflationary issue. When she was vice president for the first 2 years, it was a 50-50 Senate. She was the tie-breaking vote, right? She was the tie-breaking vote for all these crazy economic policies like the American Rescue Plan, the Inflation Reduction Act that did not do anything to help inflation. It caused more inflation because they spent more money than they needed to. She was the tie-breaking vote. So I'm from a time, I don't know what the hell the times are now. If someone's a problem, you get them the hell out. You don't give them a promotion.
That's right, buddy. You don't give them a promotion. Yeah, exactly.
Bingo. What they should do is amass, I'm sure it's somewhere online, but it needs to be mailed out, of all the votes that she was the tiebreaker for, how much they've impacted the Americans, the American people, and the American families. It is. All of these politicians are such bullshit liars, and they have all been in the office entirely too long. I mean, they're all making Chuck Schumer, McConnell, Pelosi. Like, if you've been in longer than 10 years, I mean, that's really too long. We've got to have some kind of term limitations on this. It's a part-time job. It used to be a part-time job.
Part-time
like
job.
Well,
It's
years ago. I mean,
it's in Congress. It's $174,000 a year,
Yeah,
plus medical
plus benefits,
plus all the money you get for
Pension.
your staff and all that, and a pension.
Oh, and don't forget the kickback money you're going to get.
Oh,
I mean, maybe
how about that
that's-
insider
won't
trading
loosen
that's
up.
now
Yeah.
legal?
Woo.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
Oh, Nancy Pelosi's a pro.
Well, forget about
never-
that. Look at
I
the
mean, well,
bartender.
yeah.
The bartender, AOC, she started there. She'd have 2 nickels to rub together. Now she's worth millions of dollars.
She's going to the Met Gala, for God's sake. So, and I'm sorry, she took a dress, like she borrowed a dress. So that was a donation. She was
Well,
supposed to
Listen, this is what we
disclose
do with that.
so.
Because if that was a Republican that done that, then it would be all over the news, and they would have sanctioned her in the Senate or in the
they had
Congress.
Lauren Boebert out there doing it.
Right.
Well, look at her in the movie theater. So we know what she does.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. Meanwhile,
They're not inviting her to the Met Gala.
they treat it like a booger on her finger. They just flick it away, and well, there's nothing to see here.
We didn't see you. No
Nothing
issues.
to see.
Yeah, it's the double standard is it's just despicable. But you got to kick these people out. That's what Mike says in the comments. Every 4 years we promise to fix everything, and every 4 years everything that needs to be fixed, everything needs to be fixed. It sounds like a scam. It absolutely is. They all polish each other's knobs.
Bob says that the infrastructure bill was a massive grift. Absolutely was they haven't done shit. Billions of dollars to make charging stations for electric cars. I don't even think they've made 10 so far.
How's those Wi-Fi out there for everybody? Right? And we're going to have all that too.
Not one house has been connected to Wi-Fi.
Oh, Budvugger says that $25,000 down payment assistance. Did you hear that the other day? That for new first-time homeowners, they're going to give them $25,000, like a grant of $25,000 off the purchase price.
They are? Who? The government?
The government, which means you and me.
Yeah.
And all y'all in the comments. Anybody who has a job.
All the people that can't
off your
afford a
mortgages.
house.
Oh, up to $25,000. But yeah, I'm
okay.
sure it's going to be depending on the cost of the house. You can get that back. But who's giving you that money? Who's giving that money?
Right.
Where's that coming from? First student loans, now mortgages. Yeah,
Right.
you ain't wrong.
Budweiser says $1.7 trillion for her policies. $1.7 trillion.
Yeah.
It's
Are we going to
ridiculous.
stop funding Ukraine? Are we going to stop giving student loans? Are we going to take that money back?
Hey,
No.
listen. They're saying right now that
Is it
part of this,
retroactive? I wish.
I was listening to Dan Bongino, and he's saying that they're infighting now in the Republican Party because of J.D. Vance, because J.D. Vance does not want to, and neither does Trump. Trump does not want to continue to fund this Ukraine war. He wants to stop this war. And they're like, what, are you kidding me? This is an unbelievable profit windfall for the military-industrial complex. We need to keep this thing going for as long as we can until they blow up the world.
We're giving them money so they can give it back to us.
Listen, they're right now.
They're laundering it. For fuck's sakes.
In Congress right now, they're putting out papers on how World War III is going to go and who's going to survive and who's not.
Not
this
us.
is happening. This is going to happen. So live it up, everybody. I don't know about your pensions because I don't even know if we're going to be around here long enough to have pensions. Now, I say that because and listen, when I was 25, I wasn't even 20 yet. The same shit was going on with Iran with the hostages, and it was going to be World War III, and so I mean they've been basically terrifying. Well, look, the same as long as I've been alive, they have been terrifying us with nuclear war. We used to have this thing where you'd get under your desk.
You have the desk drills and stuff.
Yeah,
we didn't have that.
for
My
a
mom made
nuclear
me
war, we
watch
get
the
under
day
it.
after.
Yeah, so you get under your desk. So
Nightmares.
What, you melt. Oh, I have had so many nightmares of nuclear war.
Oh,
It's
you just die at school. Like it's already bad.
Right. Forget about that. To this day, like if I'm listening to the radio, and that emergency alert system comes on, I'm telling you, man, my stomach drops because you never know when it's going to be something that, Thank
Well, you're
God,
nearby a plant, aren't you? Somewhat ish.
What?
Isn't there a plant near you?
As far
Nuclear
as
plant?
nuclear. No, I'm not worried about the nuclear plant having an issue. I'm worried about nuclear war. Philadelphia's going to be one of the places because we get the Philadelphia shipyard right here.
Well,
This is one of the first
Philadelphia,
places
New
I'm gonna
York, D.C. were wiped out, and
Yeah, you're gonna take
Baltimore. You
Florida.
figure that's a harbor.
Right. So if you have
We're not going to know.
anybody- right?
Glass.
If you have anybody in here that wants to stop this kind of war and have peace, why would you want peace? We had peace. We had 4 years of peace with Trump. And he didn't start and you know what? We should put a woman in because you know what? They'll stop.
Yeah.
Like
she's good at shopping. We could get all kinds of stuff.
You think that? Do you think that who's the goddamn guy from Putin? You think Putin is going to have any respect for Kamala Harris? Do you think
he's not even going to talk to her? She's a
Xi
moron.
Jinping is going to have any kind of?
No one in the Middle East will talk to her. She's a woman.
No.
They have no respect for women. Women don't belong in that. I'm surprised they even spoke with Madeleine Albright, frankly. And I don't think they all did. So
the other day, Prince William was in England with Kate Middleton.
I saw this, but go ahead. Yes.
And she's got a hijab on.
Well, she's in their country, respecting their customs. So, I mean.
Was she there or I thought she was still in England?
I thought she was there. I thought she was there.
Okay, so I don't know where she was at. But she went to shake the guy's hand, and he pulled his hand away like, don't you touch me, you filthy white bitch.
Yeah.
We don't. I can't have a woman touch me.
Nope.
So how is a woman supposed to run this country? Are you kidding me? Especially her. She's a dingbat. She's a knucklehead. The word salads that...
Okay,
yes.
yeah. Okay.
Commie Kamala. Kamala Commie.
Comrade
Yes.
Kamala.
Yeah, Conrad Kamala. That's
Conrad?
Comrade. We're Conrad. Conrad. We're Comrade.
Conrad Twitty. Conrad Twitty Harris.
And we have these dumb white bitches that are out there and they're just, oh, I want a woman because she has a vagina. We've never had a woman president. Listen,
Yeah, this is not the time to practice somebody.
Or better
She
yet,
has no idea.
There are women out there that I would vote for president. There are women out there that I would vote for because they got half a brain in their head.
See, Sparky brings up a good point, and I'd said this earlier yesterday to who the fuck was I talking? I said he says let's wait and see what happens this week at the DNC. Things might change. You know what? Who knows? At this point, who fucking knows? Because it'll just be whoever they beam in at that moment. Well, I don't see it happening after all the hype and the bus wraps and the fucking planes and all that bullshit. But at this point, who fucking knows? Who fucking knows? We can just appoint anybody to take those representative votes. Right?
She has spent $300 million on YouTube ads.
I know.
Trump's not doing that. All right, so you're talking about Chicago and the DNC, which starts tomorrow, right?
I know.
All right, so let's see what Chicago. You know, when the Republican.
What happened last
National-
time?
Well, the Republican National Convention was in. Was it in Wisconsin? I think it was in Wisconsin, right?
It's in Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Yes. All right. Look what they're doing in Chicago.
We are on Washington and Wabash outside of the Garland building, which houses a number of businesses, including stores and some restaurants and offices. Now, as you can see behind me, you'll notice that the front of the Garland building is covered in plywood. It's basically covering the windows and the door, and that's to be able to protect the building, and I should say the entrance of the building, from any potential unrest that could happen ahead of the, once the DNC does come around here, since we are anticipating some protests to take place. Now, the Chicago Board of Services says their crew.
What's that?
Potential unrest.
Right. The original
riot.
Chicago
Code
Board
word for riot. Code word for riots.
They got the original Chicago BoardUpServices.com. Come out and we'll come out and board up your business so the Antifa doesn't come in and throw a brick through your window.
That is awful. I mean, I don't recall businesses getting boarded up
for the Republican
Milwaukee.
convention. No,
it was. But I don't think even people that showed up to picket, they were way the fuck back.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what the problem is here? Did you read?
Jews.
No. That the DNC did not file the proper permits in order to put up barriers and distances for protesters, so they're going to be right up there.
Don't need no stinking permits.
Well,
they
won't.
They had one
they're
place
be right there.
There's one place, like say downtown, and then you got to go through like a war zone to get to the other place.
Chicago.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
the last few days, boarding up businesses to get ahead of potential damages. Now, so far, they've secured 12 locations around the West Loop, downtown and Daly Plaza area, with plans to board up additional businesses this weekend as a preventative measure if protests related to the DNC erupt violently.
Oh, you better just close that subway. That's just going to get bombed.
I mean,
what a brilliant service to have a board up service. How, like Bob said, if your city needs a board up service, it probably needs new leadership. You're 100% correct, sir. 100%.
JM Synthetic says, on the brighter note, boards burn easier. Chicago might be cleansed.
We can only hope. I don't want to see riots. I don't wish cities to burn up like that. But my God, the fact that that's your preventative measures for for the Democrats to show up in town is that, well, it might burn up, so let's just board it up now.
Yeah,
like that's scary. That's really scary. But who wants to see a riot? Oh,
do you really want to see a riot?
Yeah, it'll burn. I mean, like it did in the 60s.
All right, so let me. Gutfeld was on Fox.
I saw this on Friday. It was brilliant. Please play it. I loved it. I was so happy to share it.
It's a little long, but it's well worth it. Here we go.
Get your popcorn.
Well, first I want to point out something Jessica said, that Trump began as a millionaire and now he's a...
That's that Jessica Tarnoff, that libtard nitwit.
Yeah.
That
we don't listen to her.
They love to beat up on her. God,
they do beat up on her.
But she's, so stupid.
Well, first I want to point out something Jessica said, that Trump began as a millionaire and now he's a billionaire. I think that makes him an
Here she is with her dumb face. Like, here she's about ready to get her teeth kicked in, but...
in this. I would rather listen to somebody who began as a millionaire and is now a billionaire than somebody who doesn't have a damn clue about economics. I've never heard a candidate today more unsure of themselves on a topic than Kamala Harris. I think she's been burdened by the weight of expectations put on her by the media. I've never seen a better campaign ad for Trump. She's campaigning better for Trump than Trump is. First, let's talk about the down payment issue on the House. A lot of this stuff is infuriating, because they're treating the American public like idiots. She makes a proposal that is only half an equation. The first half is, here's a nice thing for you. The second half is missing, who pays for it? You saw this with student loan theft, described as forgiveness. Who paid for it? You paid for it. You see with immigration policy, who's footing the billions and all that free stuff? You're paying for it. Nothing is free. Nothing is free. And the sooner or later you figure that out, the better off you're going to be. And that's directed at Democrats who don't understand that these policies are going to sink this country. You know, if you cap prices, you increase scarcity by diminishing competition. People can call her a communist, but you gotta explain this, because the media won't ask the follow-up questions. How do you plan on doing this? Please give me an example. Give me an example where industries got together in a room and decided to drastically increase prices. That doesn't exist. The only...
Well, once the government guaranteed student loans, all the colleges got together and said, fuck, why don't we just raise tuition?
Well,
they did
look how well that's worked out. Yeah. Well, but it never goes well. So continue.
Then they started with these subprime mortgages back in the early, with Obama. They started doing that. And then the real estate people got together and said, or the mortgage people started saying, let's just give them out like candy. What do we care? We're making our money on the front end.
$8 a month, you're good. Yeah.
Fuck the back end. We're going to make all our money on the front end. So to say that businesses never get together and decide to do something like this.
It's not joint businesses, it's one industry.
Well,
that benefits.
If the government's going to just sit there.
The government's involved. Yeah.
Right. If they're just going to shower you with money, who's not going to sit there with a broom and a dustpan and start, scooping up all that shit? Of course they're going to do that.
Bob absolutely agrees with you. He says the answer is and always has been throw money at the problem. It doesn't solve the problem, but who doesn't like money?
Right. It'll shut some people up. And my daughter, who had a student loan, she said she wasn't, because the student loan was frozen, during COVID. And she goes, well, I'm not going to start paying on it because I have a feeling that the loan's going to be forgiven. I said, no, it's not, number one. And number two, That's not what you agreed
You owe that
on.
money.
Yeah, you
owe
didn't
that
agree
money.
on that. And it's not going to happen anyhow because the Supreme Court's going to shoot it down. So there we go.
Example they'll have is, a bodega raised prices on umbrellas when it rained. That's all they got. There is no payoff for industries to artificially inflate their prices because the people who drive the prices are the consumers. That is, if you want to understand supply and demand, it's the consumers who drive the prices. There is absolutely no debate on this. There is not a single economist who would agree that this is the right thing to do. We can go and talk about Eastern Bloc countries. You can look at the cheap, terrible cars that they made and the appliances they made, but you already know that story. So how do you keep a debate alive if we know this is a fraudulent idea? You don't talk to economists. You listen to politicians or talking heads like me who have to do the research because I'm sick and tired of hearing people pretend like they know what they're talking about on TV, but they don't. So you won't see economists on other shows, other networks asking these questions. Like, can you give me an example of how this is done? What are the major industries? What is the right price? What is too high? What is too low? Can the government set prices based on not having a knowledge of an industry? What do you mean exactly by price gouging? How is that done beyond unique exceptions? Price gouging is a weak phrase directed at weaker minds.
Can I just add?
Bravo. Go ahead. Kamala has no
They're like, no,
time to...
no, you can't talk.
No, you can't talk because you're a dummy. Yeah. You're just a nitwit.
She's like, can I contest that? No, you can't. You had your chance, and they barely let her speak. Barely get. I do like when they have Harold on. I think Harold he's calmer, and he's able to get his. I don't always agree with him. He's able to get his message out more clearly than I think Jessica. My opinion.
Okay. So I'm going to go back to the liberal, white, socialist communists, but then again, I repeat myself.
Yes.
So I try to listen to both sides. I really do. I really want to hear what the left has to say. And then I also have my favorites that I like to listen to, like Dan Bongino and Ben Shapiro and Megyn Kelly. So you can say I'm in an echo chamber, but there's other podcasts I listen to, which is Breaking Points with this communist Kristen Ball and Zager, who's some kind of limp-wristed semi-Republican. He's basically a never-Trump Republican. Mm-hmm. And there's another podcast I listen to, which is called We're Not Wrong. Now, I'm going to just 100% be honest with you. This is We're Not Wrong is a podcast with three people. One is Andrew Wheaton, who has a podcast. Another one is Justin. Damn it, I can't remember his last name. He does a political podcast. And then there's Jennifer Briney. I know Jennifer Briney from going to podcast conferences. Friends of mine are friends of hers. She's a nice person until you start talking politics. And then I just have no time for her. And it's tough because she's a nice person.
It's hard to separate sometimes.
It's hard to separate because
there's a lot of friendships and relationships that have splintered because of politics.
I would love
especially the past 10 years.
I would love to debate her. I really would. I would love to debate her because I just can't. So this week, We're Not Wrong. And I'm going to put a link. All right, so this is what we're going to do. In Discord, the links for the shows, the articles we do, and the videos and everything, we will put in it'll be like
a
thread.
Subcategory. Yeah.
Right. And then you can go in there and see what I'm talking about. So they do this on YouTube. And it also comes out as an audio podcast. So they start talking about, they get listener feedback. And you know what? Listeners actually send them emails. That's amazing.
No way.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They get responses?
They get responses. So they were talking about gun control. And guess what? Jen hates it. All right. So here's the first part of it.
If you care about owning an AR or an AK, neither Kamala or Walz support your right to do so. Pretty fair to say that most Democrats are in that camp as well. Some persuadable voters, however, are not. This pick does Harris no favors. Walz owning guns is like Biden owning guns. It means nothing about their opinions on them. What I find more fun is Jen's knee-jerk reaction saying that Walz's position is common sense. What any of his positions won't do is reduce actual gun violence. Heaton did an episode, Gun Violence by the Numbers, that is pertinent. Most gun crime is gang violence in the inner city with illegally possessed handguns. Pass all the laws you want. Criminals are going to be criminals.
The most bullshit of talking points that like, oh, criminals are just going to do what they want. Well, why don't we just let everyone have predator drones then? Like, no.
Really? What? That's how we're going to go with this? Just let everybody have predator? Well, just give everybody a nuclear. No.
It's just the ridiculousness response.
Right, because she doesn't like guns. She lives in some kind of fucking fantasy land that when you get rid of guns, that the murder stops.
Crime goes away? Yeah.
Yeah. Now, let's just talk about what's going on in England right now with our Muslim friends. Our Muslim friends are over there. They're running around with machetes and knives. They don't give a shit about guns. So now you're out there fighting. Now, if they're out there running around with machetes and knives, would you want to go out there and fight them with a machete and a knife? Would you like to have a good old AR-15 or AK-47? Duchess?
Well, good luck in England with an AK-47 or
Well,
AR.
I understand. What I'm saying is, yes.
Yeah. No, I would want something to defend myself with. Absolutely.
Exactly. And you know something? As a law-abiding citizen and somebody attacking me and my family, I don't want a fair fight. I want superior firepower. Like, I want to be able to just, like, shoot them.
End it.
Yes,
End it. This is not a
times.
back and forth exchange. This is we're going to be done if you're trying to attack me.
Exactly.
We're finished.
All right, so here she goes.
You don't have to allow everyone to have that much firepower. And so you've just exposed yourself as one of the people who isn't a Democrat. And so Kamala and Walz don't have to cater to you. As you even say, pretty fair. Oh, he is a Democrat. Well, most Democrats are not in your camp of wanting to own an AR or AK because they need to murder 15 people in under a minute. Like, you're just not the right constituency. So, I don't know.
No, I don't know.
Can you hold on all of them? You just hold your finger on the trigger and they just...
No, they're semi-automatic. You squeeze the trigger, one shot. You squeeze the trigger, one shot. They're not...
So she's thinking they're like an Uzi or whatever
I don't know
kind of
what
gun
she's
it is.
thinking about.
She just thinks it's like a machine gun. Like you hold it down and just...
When it gets to guns, as we are going to see, because I got 3 more clips of this. And trust me, if you go... I'm going to put the link in there, and I'll also put the time code when they start talking about this. It goes on for 10 minutes, and I wasn't going to put you through the 10 minutes. I went in and I edited it down to the juicy points. So, and again, we're talking about gun control, and she just blathers on about this without, fuck the Constitution, fuck your Bill of Rights. You know what? I just because I don't like guns, you can't have them. And this is a typical Democratic talking point.
Isn't that funny? You can't have guns, but it's okay to beat people and burn down buildings and shut down businesses and stop people from getting to where they got to go, but just don't shoot them, I guess.
To be honest,
do everything but.
To be honest, and to be totally honest, I don't think Jennifer is for any of that. All right, I'm not sure. I'm sure she's not for burning down towns.
Okay.
But the fact that if somebody wants a law-abiding citizen wants to own a gun for protection, no. Sorry, in other words, we protect the criminals, and you and your family can go fuck yourself. Sorry,
it's what she deems fit. Overall, and it's not, the whole thing is, it's not, just because you have the right doesn't mean you have to like that. You don't have to buy a gun. No one's making you buy a gun.
Right.
And the problem is with crime, because I listened to a lot more of that, so I'm not going to comment on all of it because some of her responses were mind-blowingly stupid. But if I want to own that particular gun, I have the right to do so. And as a responsible gun owner, that's what I would do. The crimes that are happening in the street, they're not responsible gun owners. And the freaks that do take that gun and go and shoot up something, there's still that's not great. I'm not excusing any of that, but there's so much day-to-day crime it's almost disregarded now.
Yes.
It's almost like, well, they only focus on like crimes with those guns. I'm like, what about handguns? You can still take and murder a fuckload of people with a handgun.
Sure can.
And go ahead.
As we get into with this clip.
Yeah.
What just happened? How come it stopped?
I don't know.
If you care about...
What did I do? Oh, I see.
Okay.
this. I hate when it does this. Here we go.
Well, that was my whole point. So what's my knee-jerk reaction?
Your knee-jerk reaction was that Walz's position is common sense.
It is. Sorry, that's not knee-jerk. That's an opinion, and it's also, I read his policies, and they're all common sense, so.
To you.
To you.
To like.
To you. I love Justin. He goes, he's like.
Because she believes in his thoughts.
It's all common sense. I read his policies. They're common sense. I just.
Common sense, so.
To you.
And to like most of America, these things are well polled. Like having background checks and not allowing wife abusers to have guns, these are all well polled. So
we do have background checks.
No, we don't. You can go to a gun show and just buy a fucking gun without a background check.
Send
you can.
I'm just going to forward all the emails. I'm just going to forward all the emails to Jen. Please.
I don't know. I'm just so sick of Americans being murdered because we allow this shit.
I agree.
So
there are background checks and at gun shows.
Some gun sales have background checks.
She doesn't even know what she's talking about. Again,
At gun shows, they do.
They have to. It's a law. It's a federal law. Okay. What she wants is a federal gun registry. This is what she wants. And you know what happens when the communists like Harris and Walz and Biden, when they want to outlaw, you know what they do? They come right to your house because they know that you have these guns and they take them from you. And this is what happened in Russia.
They can still do that. And if all they do is just go to the state.
Well, they are doing this now. They did this as soon as they shot. They identified the shooter, the assassin that shot at Trump. As soon as they did that, they found his name and they went back and they found the serial number of the gun and they could trace it right back to that guy. And that's illegal. That's against the Constitution. But fuck the Constitution, as they say.
Some do not, because we don't have a national law that requires every single change of position to be background checked. We don't require tracking of those guns so that you have the personal responsibility of knowing who fires your gun at what other human being. We have plenty of common sense things where it's like, okay, you want to own your fucking AK-47, you are responsible for who dies with it. Like, we don't have those laws, and I consider them common sense. You want to talk about personal responsibility and training and all that shit? Put the laws where your so-called principles are. But just allowing any old asshole to get these things, like your 2A supporters.
Oh, God forbid.
Oh, that was fucking snooty.
Yeah, how about your 1A supporters? You okay with that? What if I don't like it? What if I find what you're just saying here totally offensive and I want your speech shut down? Should I be allowed to do that? Because I find it offensive. See, the laws protect you and they protect me. All right? You just don't get to pick and choose like you're at a fucking buffet. I'll take this right, free speech, right to bear arms. No, thank you. You can't have that. We don't, again, this.
No, certain arms.
Like, having protection for your family does not mean having the ability to slaughter dozens of people.
I don't.
Well, if they come into my house, yeah.
How many people that are responsible gun owners just run out and slaughter a bunch of people?
Well, that was my plan next week, but now I have to reschedule that.
Yeah, I know.
Damn it. She caught on. Shit. I mean, come on. It's not. And I do have a problem with gun owners that don't, because there are quite a few that don't properly secure their guns. That's a problem. Unfortunately, I don't think every gun owner is. I'm not agreeing with her. I'm kind of sidebarring that I don't think there are gun owners that lock their shit up, which is evident as to their kids getting hold of it and then therefore going to schools and shit like that with their dad's gun or mom's gun.
Well, there's laws for this now, too.
Well, yeah, they're prosecuting the parents.
They're prosecuting the parents, which,
yeah.
I'm not 100%, like I said, I'm okay with that. Yeah. If you don't lock up your guns and you let your kid, and you got to know your kid, okay? The one that I think was in Michigan, was it in Michigan where the parents?
Yeah, Crowley.
Mm-hmm.
Crowley's, I think.
Yeah, they knew the son
Ethan.
was right.
Yeah.
They knew that there was a problem with this kid, and they let him get a hold of a gun. He went in and shut up
the
his
school. Literally said, "Take your kid home."
Right.
And they're like, "Nah, he's fine." And then he pulled the gun out of his backpack and slaughtered people.
Yeah, right. So again,
crap.
And I agree with background checks. I agree with background checks, and I agree with a 72-hour waiting period. Because there are some people, you have a crime of passion, they want to go, they buy a gun, and they shoot somebody with it, and it's usually like a murder suicide. It's a family thing, and it's horrible. I understand that. All right, but if they don't have a gun, they'll do something else. They'll stab them. They'll choke them. They'll do something else. If you want to kill somebody, you don't need a gun to do it. That's all. So gun violence goes down, but knife violence goes up. Kind of like in the UK. All right, here we go.
All right, buckle up.
Oh,
Maybe.
Johnny.
Are still going to have problems for the very reasons that you talked about. The fact that we allow any civilians to have these weapons of war, that is the problem. And
I hate that phrase.
Weapons of war.
Like they're coming around with a fucking army tank or something, or with the what are those, the Gatling guns or something like.
Just because it's a long gun and it looks like a military style gun.
Well, it looks scary, so that's a weapon of war.
It's a scary gun. I don't like handguns are fine. They're not as scary. They're not as scary as the
I have a
weapons
pink
of war.
one.
Yeah, it's a weapon of war. Jesus.
I still think that they're pretty common sense. If anything, they're too weak. If anything, we are still going to have problems for the very reasons that you talked about. The fact that we allow any civilians to have these weapons of war, that is
Weapons
the
of
problem.
war.
And until we're willing to
Sure,
actually
buzzword.
have that discussion and ban some of this shit like we had in the 1990s when our gun deaths were way lower, we're going to keep having these problems. You say like, oh, most of the violence is possess handguns. Well, most of the mass slaughtering is happening with these AK, AR type of weapons.
What I like is they do push back on her. And the more they push back on her, the more upset she gets. And here's another thing.
Well, weapons of war keeps getting recycled.
Right.
So.
But here's another thing. If this wasn't a woman, if this was another guy, these guys would go after that person harder. But because she's a woman, they treat her with way more reverence than they should.
How do you know? Do you watch these guys?
I listen to them. I put myself through this every fucking week and listen to this fucking show. All right? And they do this because...
Or that they just have manners and they just let people finish their sentence?
This is what happens. If they come back at her hard, she starts to fucking cry. And then
Are you kidding?
I swear to God.
Stop. I would not even watch this show.
She cries and then they all feel bad.
You're
because
picking
you don't
on
want...
me.
Yeah. She starts crying.
She's smart. She plays victim. Nice.
Oh.
All right. So
just like
Bloodbugger
it.
says she's perky breasts and Sparky says big nips. So...
How does he know she's got big nips?
I don't know. I think that's why they're saying that she gets a break because she got boobs.
I don't know.
Weapons. Like even the Trump assassination, the Vegas guy that was able to kill dozens of people from the Mandalay Bay window, like they are using a specific kind of weapon. So it's like we can do something about that other than just being like, well, criminals get a criminal. It's ridiculous.
Okay, so she referenced Trump and the Mandalay Bay. There's no other gun crimes in between?
Well, there's the gay shooting down at the down at the Pulse nightclub or whatever it was called.
Right.
I forget. Down in Florida. That was that. Yeah, and Bugbecker says, you mean the Mandalay Bay Patsy?
That's a whole nother. Yeah.
There's a thing now that if you go to Mandalay Bay map on Google, somebody put like all the like camera views and 911 calls and everything that you can go in, and it's pretty intense. But yeah, pretty soon they'll be getting rid of that. So here they go. And again, like they're going to push.
Still there.
But listen to the way they push back. Like if it was me, I would not be so nice.
I've heard you on podcast. Well, you've always been very polite when you've discussed guns, especially on that one with Delvin. I thought you were very polite, but when you responded, you didn't start rude. When people pushed you and got a little nasty, you replied, I think somewhat in kind, but you didn't come in, I'll say, guns blazing. You didn't. You maintained a very calm.
There's a podcast that I'm, an episode of a podcast.
Yeah.
What's it called again? It's depression something.
Oh, I like
Anxiety,
her.
depression,
Yeah, Summer. Yeah.
Summer. And I'm on there with Adam Nutter and Matt Mish from the
Stressed, Depressed, and Anxious.
Stressed, Depressed. Yeah. It's supposed to come out September 2nd. And I'm not that nice in that section. Like, I was very, something? You're right. I was very nice to Summer, very respectful to Summer, and just fucking went right after Adam Nutter, like, was right for the throat.
But you know him, right? Like, you're...
I know him like I know.
Well, you've had interactions with him. Like, he's not like, he wasn't some stranger that you've never spoken to, right?
Right, but I have a feeling that if it was a woman, I wouldn't have went after him with the same kind of intensity that I did go after Adam and Mike Mish.
So, but Matt Mish. And
fuck.
Yeah, and you just critique these guys for doing the same thing.
Yeah, I know. But
Okay.
this is what I'm saying is women get away with shit. They get away with, the white liberal women get away with this shit because they cry.
Mass
All of them, but
murders,
okay.
mass shootings are defined as 5 or more deaths in the United States under federal law with the various informational groups that get it. And the majority of them are done by handguns. So, like, he is correct in saying that the majority of mass shootings are handguns, not AK-47s.
I'll tell you what, Andrew, you with your fucking facts. Well,
dare you.
you think she's going to have any part of this?
Not the really big mass shootings.
Not the
like
ones that are
Pulse
covered.
nightclub,
The
Las
covered.
Vegas.
The
like,
ones that are covered.
The ones
that get media coverage.
Sure, the ones that get
yeah, if
media
you're trying to
coverage,
kill
you could
your
say
wife, that's usually going to be a handgun. But that's where you run into the issue that, like, oh, wife
Well,
beaters in lots of
it's-
states are allowed to have
But that's the
handguns.
thing, is it
So
the thing that drives up
Are
the
they?
num-
Wife beaters are allowed to have handguns.
Come forward, get your guns, wife beaters.
Hey, you know what I say? Wife,
Gun for
you know what I
you,
say?
gun for you.
If you're
Aye.
getting beat by your husband, go out and get yourself a handgun.
Get his gun, shoot the fuck out of him.
And then when he comes after you to beat you, you shoot him. Shoot him right in the fucking nutsack. And that'll be the
Jason.
last time he raises a fucking hand to you. That's what
Jason
you
says,
do.
I prefer to use a hatchet for my wife.
Right.
Jason.
I like to use a bar of soap and a fucking pillowcase on my wife.
Oh, God. That's a
Hopefully
full
it
metal
doesn't
jacket treatment. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't leave a mark. Yeah. She fell down the steps.
In a wrench house.
She fell down the steps multiple times.
numbers when you cite the assault weapons ban and the difference in mass shooting numbers between then and now. The big uptick is gang violence that is done with handguns.
Okay. Well, then let's trace every single one of those handguns. And if it's your handgun that's found to be used because you illegally sold it to someone, you also go to jail because you didn't keep track of your weapon of war. Like, there are ways.
Now, handguns. Handguns are now weapons of war.
Well, we've just now jumped. Yeah. Well, see, she's very convenient and flexible with the weapons of war topic.
I'll be honest with you. I would like to label white liberal women's mouths of they are weapons of war. Sorry, Duchess. You're not a white liberal woman. I don't know why you're mad at me. You should be on my side on this.
I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you.
You stopped mid-drink when I said that.
I wanted to hear what you were saying before I either yelled at you or just
I know.
rolled with what you were saying.
That we can punish everyone involved. And so there is a whole black market of gun dealing that happens in the blue states because you get them in the red states and then you sell them in the blue states. Everyone
They
should be
steal
held
'em.
accountable. Whoever.
Well, okay. So what
steal
they
guns.
do, they go and they buy them in the red states and they illegally sell them in the
Yes.
blue states, which is
Yes.
illegal. There's laws against that already.
Yes.
So how
So-
are your laws working out there, Jennifer? Your laws.
Jennifer.
Yeah, again, you with your fucking facts. You know what liberals hate
You
more
and your
than anything?
facts.
Facts. They fucking despise them.
That gun gets traced back to the store, that person should be in trouble because you fucking sold it. So it's like there's ways that we
Yeah.
Okay, so you sold a gun legally,
Odd analogy. Mm-hmm.
right? And then someone took that gun and sold it to somebody illegally.
If you reported it stolen. Yeah. What if you report it stolen? Somebody steals your gun. Okay.
Right. And
So
then so-
along that. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying. The thing is that a guy sells a gun legally. Okay, that person takes the gun he bought legally and illegally sells it to somebody else. She wants to be able, like the communist that she is, to go trace it all the way back to where the guy did it legally and then get him in trouble too. I'm telling you.
I don't. So could she? So cars are weapons, right? How many millions of people die in a year per car? So if somebody, so should every owner of that vehicle be penalized for the death of somebody? Should a stolen car be traced back as if you use it as a weapon? Like, can we do that? Can we apply that nonsensical thinking to everything?
Well,
everything
Duchess,
that can kill someone. I know.
Duchess. I mean, come on. Cars are not made to kill people. All right. The fact that you just take a car and kill somebody. Like if like there's a lot of times there's women that get mad at their husbands and they don't have a gun, so they run over their husband with a car. Now, let's say Jennifer had sold this woman her car, and then she ran over her husband, which is illegal. Even though that she sold the car to her legally, she ran over her husband. Should Jennifer at that point be, something again? John, you with your bullshit ideas, it's not the same thing. This is what you gun people do. You gun people sit there and you say, you know what? That's not the same. You know why it's not the same? Because I drive cars. I want a car. And that means if you make this argument, I can't have a car. So I can't have that. All right. So that's not the same thing. Because I say it's not the same thing, but it kind of is the same thing. Let's say this. Let's say how many people die of gunshot wounds? Okay. And how many people die due to drunk driving accidents?
Well, let's see all the
Do you know how many lives we could save if we got rid of everybody's car? And then there wouldn't be no more drunk driving. Okay? So we would do this. Now, to be honest with you, the communist Jennifer loves trains. She wants trains to go again, this is what we should do.
It's the ridiculousness of it.
We should take and round up all these socialist, communist people. I don't care if they're born in this country or not. If you're not here, if you don't want to abide by the Constitution, if you don't want to abide by the Bill of Rights, there are plenty of countries out there that do not have a Bill of Rights. And you know what? You're better off there. Go there.
If you want everybody to take care of you and you want to live like that and pay outrageous money and I don't understand the way I understand like she's concerned about guns and you obviously don't want bad people to have access to guns. I get that. I totally get that. But the way the laws are structured, there are gun owners, they have a fuckload of laws. There's so many laws. Like you can't transport. Like if I'm going to go to a shooting range with my gun, I have to go, it has to be all disassembled, locked in the trunk. We lock it in the trunk of the car. God forbid, we haven't even been pulled over, but I'm terrified that it's even going to happen.
Isn't that crazy?
Drive to where we're going to to the range, shoot, break it all back down, lock it back in the bag, lock it in the trunk, and go straight home. We can't stop anywhere. You can't stop at Target. You can't say, oh, let's get a bite to eat. Nope, straight home. Boom, boom, that's it. No other points in between. Like it's silly, but then, but in other states, it's fine. Like you can drive around with it in your car. You have a concealed carry.
State by state.
It varies.
Look,
so,
there are times when someone takes a gun out and shoots an innocent person. I get that, all right? Yeah. For whatever reason, and then that person needs to go to, and you know what? And unfortunately,
there's crazy people.
Yes, and if you're going to live in a country where you're allowed to protect yourself and your family, not just from, it's not just about hunting deer and squirrels and raccoons and shit.
Right.
It's about, protecting yourself from invaders, foreign and domestic. Mm-hmm. Then you have to be able to own a gun. All right. And every once in a while, somebody's going to do something, just like with a car. Every once in a while, someone's going to get in a car and do something they shouldn't do, and they're going to kill people. Sometimes a bunch of people. All right. And you're not going to take away everybody's cars. So you should use that same logic with guns. And people are not going to do that. So let's listen to Jennifer.
Let's finish this.
Deal with this. But it's not let everyone have whatever gun they want. And that is what a lot of these 2A voters are pushing for. And I just don't respect it.
Send your emails. Send your emails.
Fuck your emails. I'm not reading them. Send them to Justin.
No, they're going to send them to me. I'm forwarding them to you.
Well, don't. You don't think I've had these conversations with these people?
Please. These people.
I know.
Nice.
Yeah, man, you don't think I've had these conversations with these people?
She's respectful.
Right. All right.
Whatever.
Let's bring
You're
it on home.
not changing that mind. Yeah,
let's bring it on home here because, again, you notice how Justin's being very respectful.
Yeah.
To Jennifer, where I'd have said, you know what, I can't wait for these. Yeah. Next episode, I'm reading every one of these emails to you, every one of them, because of your point of view. You should get the full wrath of your nonsense. Oh, you were thinking that while I was doing this, I would fix the other track too, but obviously I don't.
You want a weapon of war? I'm not going to cry because you have to do too much paperwork. Boo-hoo.
Okay. Boo-hoo is the
I'm serious.
answer.
Like,
I'm
just so sick of these people that want guns. Like, there's people dying. Like, oh, well, I'm a good guy. Everyone thinks they're the fucking good guy. I'm sure the guy who wanted to kill Trump thought he was doing something good. Everyone who does this stuff thinks they are the good guy. So you can't go by, well, I'm a good guy and I do the proper paperwork. It's like,
yes, you can. Yes, you can. Because there's a lot of people. Go by how many people are killed with guns, okay? And then how many people own guns. There are way more good guys with guns than bad guys with guns, all right? But that's okay.
She wouldn't know.
Yeah, you would know because facts and shit. And here's the thing.
It's facts and shit. There's the episode title, Facts and Shit.
She does a podcast called The Congressional Dish. She's done it for a long time. And to be honest with you, some of the stuff, what she does is she goes in and reads the bills in Congress. And I loved the show. I used to listen to the show all the time until Trump got elected. And as usual, when Trump gets elected, that Trump derangements, because she despises Trump. I mean, my God, you should hear her talk about Trump.
I can only imagine.
So, all right, I'm not, because what happened was this thing jumped back to the beginning. I'm not going to put you through this. But anyhow, this is We're Not Wrong. The video for this will be in our Discord. Our Discord link is in the show notes if you want to check this out. If you
I think
want
it's
to
been scrolling through the feed too. So if you've been live
and I'll
watching,
actually put the time. I have the time codes where this whole conversation starts. And you know what? I wouldn't mind it if you shot off an email to them and told her
listen
about
to
herself.
her. Listen to her arguments.
She should have to listen to every fucking email that comes in from her blabbing about shit because she doesn't like it. And the Constitution. Her podcast is called The Congressional Dish. Except we don't like
we don't deal with that.
Yeah, we don't want to deal with the Constitution or any shit like that.
Speaking of emails, do we have any?
I don't think so.
Oh,
I didn't check. You know why? Because we never have emails. You know what else I didn't check? Voicemails. Or because I have every text or voicemail something here. No one does it. No one cares.
Well, you have had company.
I mean, we have a lot of people that care. The people that are big fans, they're here in the chat. So they don't have to send us text. They're here chatting with us.
We appreciate that.
Right. Yeah. Like Sparky Toaster right here says. And I wonder what would happen if someone was breaking into her house and there was no cops around with a gun to protect her. And he got in and raped her. Would she change her mind on guns? Probably not. Probably not. Not outside. Inside, probably, but not outside. And something I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Even, I would not wish that.
Barkey also asked if you were going to talk about Trump going to prison.
All right, let's talk about Trump going to
prison. He put a pin in that?
Yeah, let's talk about Trump going to prison. So right now, there is rumblings in my tummy. There's when I take my Manjaro and I can't poop. There are rumblings out there now that they are setting up at Rikers to accept Trump because Trump's going to be sentenced in September. They are going to. They are going for this. They cannot have Trump be president. They can't.
They're going to do everything they can.
They are going to put this. They are going to put him in jail.
That judge ain't stepping down. Yeah.
They are going to put him in jail. And to be honest with you, if Congress doesn't do anything and the Senate doesn't do anything to stop this, then as far as I'm concerned, they are fucking complicit in this. Because this is bullshit. Yeah. He should not have to. He should not be sentenced, especially it's under appeal, and especially as many lawyers and Alan Dershowitz, who's no fan of Trump, who teaches Harvard Law and says that this is a bullshit case and it's going to be overturned on appeal, but they don't care. This is lawfare. They do not want him as president. This is election interference. You can't even deny it. This is election interference. This is worse than stuff in the ballot box. The media is doing it, election interference. Like, in other words, we can't have the facts.
Right.
We have to, and even if we have the facts and we're like, okay, well, we have the facts and we know who we want to vote for. We've had 4 years of Trump, and now we've had 3.5 or almost 4 years of Biden. And now we know who we want. We want Trump. Nope, can't have Trump. You can't have him. No. Like the commie Jennifer doesn't want you to have guns. All right, you can't have that.
This is how the left is going to win.
This is how they're going to do it. They're already putting their finger on the scale, and the right is not doing anything about it. They are not doing anything.
Yeah, the right is still. I don't understand how they're not. I get it. Like, there's different flavors of things, but you need to unite as a party and get your shit together. Stop looking like a bunch of morons and back this candidate, because this is who we have. This is who it is. Nut up and do it. Like, stop acting like a bunch of fucking morons.
Here's the thing. Again,
where's the outcry on all of this? Like, all of this should be every day beating this. Every one of these fuckers that we pay a shitload of money to need to be out there screaming at the press and getting their voice out there. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. Are they doing that?
They won't report it. They won't report it. They will not.
They got to go on everywhere. It will get reported. They just need to start showing up.
Once it happens, there's nothing you can do to stop it. I know. It could start a civil war. It could start a civil war.
Oh my God! Wait, just wait. I'm
serious. If they want to start
the next 80 days are going to be a fucking nightmare.
If they want to start if they want to start interfering in elections by doing this, by putting Trump in jail, then the people that support Trump should go to the polling places and disrupt it so nobody can vote. They should disrupt it so nobody can vote. That's what should happen. That you want to fuck with elections? Let's fuck with elections. And I know that when
they
I
won't.
say shit like that,
that's the whole thing. We're not. We're not like that
because we're law-abiding citizens.
I know,
but they're not.
But they're not fighting for the law either.
All right, listen. Let me just say this, okay? They made it a sport, okay? They've made this election season a sport, and what happens is if you hit a baseball player or something because he hit a home run or whatever, you hit all right. The next thing that happens is your pitcher goes out there and he finds the guy, their best hitter, and he plunks him right into the right in the back. All right, he drills him just to let him we're not taking this shit. Same thing happens in football. You go after the quarterback. Next thing you know, there's a fucking brawl. Same thing in baseball. Once the one guy plunks the other guy in the back, the bench is, and we have a Donnybrook.
And our bench ain't clearing. That's the problem. Our bench isn't doing shit.
Because I'll tell you right now, the people on the right are pussies in a way that you can't arrest everybody. You can't arrest everybody. If everybody goes out and says, you know what, fuck this, we're just going to, you know what, we want an election. We want a fair election. And if you're not going to give us a fair election and you're going to do this, then guess what? You're not. We're going to fuck it up. So you can't. There's going to be no ballots. All right. There's going to be no ballots.
The comments agree. It's a Jam Synthetics says they even said all the Republican governor states should be filing a case to make this go to the Supreme Court now and skip the appeals. And Sparky says Republicans that are in office don't have a backbone or a set of balls to do shit about this.
I agree.
Agreed and agreed. Ding and ding.
Yeah, stop.
100%.
Yeah, Ted Cruz has this The Verdict podcast, and he comes on and whines and cries about this shit all the time, and they don't do anything. They do it.
He can't be the only one yelling about it.
Right.
You need everybody.
It's not now. We're not talking about words. Now we're talking about deeds. All right. The fact that they're going to sit there and fuck with this election and allow the press to fuck with this election, and we sit there like goddamn sissies and
idiots.
Sit back and allow this to happen and allow them to take this country away from us and turn it over. And I mean, goddamn.
This time will be different. Yeah. Guess what? It's fucking not going to be.
Yeah,
every sign is there that it's not.
Listen to Harris and listen to Walz. I always say, you know what? When someone tells me what they're going to do, I believe them. Oh, they'll never do that. They're telling you they're doing to do it.
They're literally
telling you they're going to do it. Bob says J6 is going to happen on N5. I think it's November 5th.
I hope not.
I think it's November 5th. Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, I get your point.
This is exactly what has to happen. All right,
it is the 5th.
All right, we are one of the things that we are promised is our, fair elections.
Yes,
and they're not doing this, and we're just sitting back and saying, well, whatever. Because I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of people that if Trump goes to jail, they won't vote for Trump. They won't vote for Trump, and this is just a way to install Kamala Harris in as president. Mm-hmm. She did not win one delegate vote.
Nothing.
Okay. When she tried to run for president in 2020, she didn't even make it to I think she went to Iowa, but after that she dropped right out.
Yeah.
All right.
First one down.
Right.
Yeah.
And she called Biden a racist and then he picked her. Why? Why did he pick her? because she was black and she was a woman.
No, she was Indian. She was
No,
Indian.
black woman. He says, I got to pick a black woman, and he picked her.
Oh.
That's what he did.
Oh, I guess he knew she was black. I thought it was first Indian.
No.
Oh, that's right. Then when she got there, then
So
it was
he picked
black.
a black woman. And as soon as she got a chance, she put a shiv on his back and flicked him off her finger like a booger.
Oh, yeah.
And basically burying him right now.
There's boot prints all over his back.
She is a piece of shit. She is 100%
They all
a
are.
piece of shit.
Her,
Yes.
Jeffries, Schumer, Pelosi, they all did it. All of them. And her.
Yeah.
They kicked him out. Now, don't get me wrong. He needed to not be running because he's a fucking hot mess. But if that's the best they're doing is this bullshit, this baiting, this shell game presidential candidate bullshit. Fucking
All right, so
ridiculous.
let me bring
Who's
this
under
up
this
'cause-
coconut shell?
Yeah, people don't understand what, not our listeners. Our listeners are smart. But if
Yes.
anybody, any liberal decides to stumble across this and actually listen, here's a lesson.
Please
for
listen
you
to
from,
all of it.
From Ann Landers. Dear Ann,
Yes.
I'm an English teacher, and my students are reading George Orwell's 1984. I'm having a difficult time explaining communism, socialism, and fascism without giving a time-consuming history lesson. I recall you printing a humorous explanation of these concepts using cows. Will you please print it again? I'm sure it will kickstart a lively discussion.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what she writes. Socialism. You have 2 cows. You give 1 cow to your neighbor. Communism. You have 2 cows. You give both cows to the government, and they give you back some milk. Fascism. Maybe. Fascism. You have 2 cows. You give all the milk to the government, and the government sells it. Nazism. You have 2 cows. The government shoots you and takes both of your cows. Then you have anarchism. You have 2 cows. You keep both cows. You shoot the government agent and steal another cow. And then capitalism. You have 2 cows. You sell one. You buy a bull, and you make more cows.
Yes.
So that's basically it. But again, here we go.
Budbugger says, bookending the podcast with stories about cows.
That's what we're
You are
doing.
not wrong. Well, but we opened with cows.
I understand it, but that's not really true because I have one left. I have one little video left, and it's about Gen Z, because people don't understand, your generation. And to be honest with you, part of the boomers are the same way.
Yes.
All right, and so then
The younger
you have,
boomers, yeah. Mhm.
Right, you have like the millennials and Gen Z, like they don't understand, so we have to give them a lesson.
When y'all are saying that y'all used to drink from the hose, were sinks not an option?
For fuck's sake. Who's gonna tell him? You want me to tell him? I'll tell him. We weren't allowed in the house. I don't know why that's so hard for people to understand. Our childhood was like one never-ending episode of that TV show Survivor, okay? We are indestructible. We've never sat in car seats. Nobody's ever given us swimming lessons. We've all been either shot with a BB gun or stabbed with a fucking jart. The television stations had to make a commercial reminding our parents that they had kids. I shit you not. Every night on the 10 p.m. news, a voice would come on and say, "It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?" To remind our parents that they had fucking kids. So, no, sir, shirtless with the beanie, sinks were not an option.
So well said. That's exactly it. Like, I don't think people really get that. Like, I think maybe the elder millennials kind of fell into that a little bit. But that information, that right there, there's generations that just won't get it. They're like, what do you mean?
We
There
never
was
rode a bike.
yeah.
There was no such thing as a bike helmet when I was growing up.
Oh my God. If you were in a bike helmet, you probably got beat up.
They would have beat you up and called you a retard, a window-licking retard if you wore a helmet when you were riding a bike.
Oh, your mom making you wear a helmet.
I was racing my friend. We were going from my house to his house. I'm on a 10-speed. We're going down the hill. I'm going to go in his driveway. I've got this thing in 10th gear, and I'm cranking. And I'm doing about 25, 30 mile an hour on this bike. Not thinking that when I come and hit his driveway, I'm going airborne. I go airborne. I crash my dad's 10-speed right into the corner of a fence with a steel pole. I hit the fence so hard that you know how the 10-speeds have the curl, like the ram horn curl? I straightened it out. The forks bent back the other way. The spokes went through the wheel. There was a big tire pop. I hit the pole so hard with my head that I got 27 stitches in the top of my head.
Holy shit.
Okay? The neighbor whose driveway I was going in, his father worked night shift. He was asleep on a couch. He thought someone shot a gun. So he comes out, and I'm laying there on the ground.
Dead.
I'm loopy because I have a fucking concussion. I've been concussed.
That explains so much.
I get ready to go home, and so I said, I got to take this bike home. Well, I'll come back with my mom to get the bike. I couldn't even move.
That's your concern is I got to get home and get my bike back.
The frame, where the frame goes into the gooseneck was bent. That's how hard I hit.
Oh, my God.
No helmet.
No.
Right into the fucking pole.
Yep.
So
I flipped right over my bike, but go ahead, finish yours.
The neighbor comes out and says, "Are you okay?" And I go, "Yeah." And then all of a sudden the blood starts running down so he's like, "Oh," so they get a towel and they take me home. Okay. The neighbor pulls up and says, "Yeah, he had a bad accident with the bike. The bike's destroyed." So my mom comes in. So my mom, she can't handle blood. So she's like, "Let me see." Oh, you're fine. So now I'm getting ready to go back to, I had dinner. I ate dinner. I go back, and the neighbor sees that I've got blood running down the side of my head. And she goes, "What happened?" I said, I crashed my dad's bike. I got to go back and try to fix it. So she goes, "Let me see." She comes, she goes, "I can see your skull. Your head split wide open. You got to go to the hospital." Just then, my dad comes pulling in the car. He goes, "You got to take him to the hospital. He split his head open." So my dad goes, "What?" So he goes, "Come here."
It's like, God damn it. Right?
He goes, "What happened?" I go, "Well, I was racing my bike and I hit a pole." He goes, because my dad had bought me back then, and I was 15, so this had to be like 1976 or something like that. He bought me a $400 aluminum frame 10-speed bike, and I never wanted to ride it because it was so expensive. He goes, "You wrecked that bike that I bought you?" I go, "No, I wrecked yours."
That's the concern right there. That tells you that's the generation right there. The parent, you broke your bike. Like, not your head is fucking caved in.
Yeah,
you broke your bike.
Right.
Yeah.
So he smacks
That's
me
where our parents were.
He smacks me in the back of the head. And he says, "Get in the fucking car." So I get in the car.
He's so mad he has to take you to the hospital.
We go to the hospital. I'm sitting
God
there with a towel on my head, still bleeding. We're sitting there for an hour and a half. My dad goes, "This is ridiculous." So he calls a doctor friend of his, and the doctor says, "I'll go to my office. We'll stitch him up." So I come in. The doctor's got a cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
They always did, yeah.
And he's sewing my head up, and he's going, "Jesus
Using
Christ."
your head for an ashtray.
He says, "I can't believe this kid." He goes, "I can't believe this kid hasn't fractured his skull." He says, "I can see." He says, "I'm looking at it. It's not fractured." He says, "I can't believe he hasn't fractured his skull." They sewed my head up and sent me home.
Oh, my God.
No looking for a concussion. No x-rays.
No
or anything
x-rays,
like that.
no scans, nothing.
Sent me home.
Probably went home, went to bed.
Yeah, and said, no. And he says, wake him up every 2 hours for the night. All right, so that's what I had to do. Yeah. So we didn't have that kind of shit where you could.
Yeah. That's you. All you people who think why we're the way we are, that's why. Yes. That's why, because nobody gave a shit about us.
Another time, I had my motorcycle. I was 16.
Okay. It always starts with that.
And we had this
dirt
hill.
Bike.
We had this one hill we called it King's Hill. And if you went all the way back and you could get up to like 60 mile an hour and you'd go up this hill, you would fly. And we used to have long distance jumping contests. So I'm on my way over there.
Good boys. You dumb boys.
And what happened was they had dumped, because they were doing road work, they dumped a pile of asphalt there. Or they knew that we were jumping there and they dumped a pile of asphalt. So
Jamaica Hill?
I hit this. I hit about 65 mile an hour. I hit this hill. I'm in midair and I'm going to hit this thing. I'm like, I'm going to hit this pile of asphalt, and I'm going to get hurt. So I just push off the handlebars. The bike hits, and now I'm sliding face first. Thank God it had rained, and it was all mud. So when I get up, I look like the guy from Tropic Thunder, right? I'm all black.
Robert Downey
and
Jr.
there's grass all stuck in my helmet. And I I tore the forks off and did the same thing front wheel to my motorcycle too.
Destroyed.
So we did that shit all the time.
On the
time.
daily.
Yes.
Well, because you weren't allowed in the house. You just stay outside.
Yes.
It was when you're out, don't come back unless you're here by X time for dinner or for lunch. Like that was it. Those were the only times. And God forbid you had to go in to pee. It was go in, use the downstairs bathroom, whatever. Get in, get out.
Oh,
like,
we weren't even.
It was
pee. We peed in up in the yard.
Well, I was a girl. We didn't pee in the yard,
Yeah.
but my mother didn't make us pee in the yard. But she didn't really want us in the house either. I remember I was biking to to summer camp. I was like 13, biking like 3 miles to summer camp. And I was on the side of the road, again, no helmet, and my newish 10-speed, which I loved. And I was hovering on the side of the road, and not all of it was paved. And a car buzzed me, and it startled me, so I jerked the wheel a little bit. And the tire went off the paved road, and you know, like where the paved road, and sometimes there's dirt. Like it's just like chunks of stuff. So the bike dipped down, and I hit a chunk of concrete, and literally went like ass over tea kettle over the handlebars of my bike, and the bike landed on top of me. And I'm sure, and cars were just driving by. Like there must have been about 10 cars that went by me. No helmet, nothing. It scooped a hunk of skin. I still have a scar on my leg from like a big gouge. And some woman pulled over. I'm on the side of the road crying because I was just a mess. And she's like, "Oh my goodness, are you okay?" And I'm like, "My bike, I'm ruined." So she gets me in the car. It's a total stranger, no idea. Puts her bike in the back, drives me to summer camp, deposits my bike and myself at camp. They had to like put me all back together, and called my mom. And my mom was like, "Well, I'm at work, so I'll pick her up after work." Like, you know, like it was not a big deal. Like, I'm like, I probably should have had stitches. Like it was like a big
they didn't care.
Scoop right out. And like, but I wasn't as adventurous as like dirt bike jumping and stuff like that. But we used to zip down our driveway on big wheels. We had a big ramp, like a driveway just pitched really nicely downhill. And all the kids we'd get all the bikes, everything you could, and you just fly down this hill. And we used to have trucks that would like buzz down our street before they blocked them from doing that. And a cousin of mine shot out in the road and just missed getting creamed. Like, by the grace of God, he did not get splattered by a truck. And then we got in trouble because we almost killed him. But, you know, other than that.
Last motorcycle story. I was 13 years old, so I just got my 125cc Yamaha motorcycle.
Nice.
And my dad and his friends, we all had motorcycles, and we'd put them on trailers, and we would go to these, in Jersey, they had these sand pits,
oh my God, so many.
Trails.
Yep.
In the Pine Barrens.
They'll never find you.
They all take off, and I start to go. I get excited, and I start to go, and I stall the bike, and I flood it. I can't get it started. So start. So finally I get it started, and I'm trying to catch them. So I'm blasting down this dirt road towards them. I don't know what that was.
It's the police coming to get you.
So I'm blasting to try to catch them down this dirt road. And it opens up into this, what I think is a big field, right? And I see them all going around there, like near the hill, and they're going around the right side of it. And I go, oh, good. I'll go to catch them. I'll go over this hill across the field and catch them when we get to the other, catch up to them. So I get to the other side. I don't know, 12, 13 years old. I'm doing about, 70 mile an hour on this 125.
Oh my God. Entirely too fast.
I go over this hill, up. It's a pit. It's a sand pit.
Oh, no.
It drops like
instantly, I'm sure.
25 feet. I'm like, wee! And I don't know what to do, but I know this is going to hurt when I hit. So same thing. I push off the bike so I don't hit. I hit, the bike hits, the bike bounces, it lands on top of me. The brake handle goes through my back of my that little tendon between your heel and there. It went right between the two of them.
The Achilles,
and punctured that. And I'm hopping around and bleeding. My dad comes back and goes, "What the hell are you doing?" I said, "Well, I thought I was going to go across the field." He goes, "Does this look like a field?" I said,
"From way back."
Not when I hit that hill, it didn't. So he says,
"You broke your bike, God damn it."
"I guess we're going home." I go, "We're not going home.
It's all your fault. No more fun."
We wrapped that thing up, and I went and rode the rest of the day. Came back, couldn't walk. What rode the rest of the day? A couple.
I love how he was like, well, now we got to go.
Yeah, now we got. Oh, we just got
Thanks,
here. Now we
John.
got to go. Thanks, John.
It's all your fault. So the comments are great. Everybody sharing their stories. So
says, does John still ride a motorcycle? I do not. Or did he ever have a street bike? No. And I'm sorry. I thought I was going to tell this story, but this is not. This is the last story. So my dad had a race car. All right. And on Saturday, we used to race Friday nights at Bridgeport. So Saturdays we would come over, we'd wash the car. So I'm out at his garage washing the car. And all of a sudden I hear like a Harley go down the road and he's what? And I hear bang. And I look up, and just as I look up, I see two people cartwheeling in the air.
Oh, no.
And here comes this guy. He's coming off, and some old lady in like a green Rambler pulled right in front of him. He had no chance. You didn't even hear brakes. Bam. He was like screaming. The cops come and the ambulance comes, and I'm standing there and everything's going on, and they cut his leg, and the muscle in his leg just fell into his pants.
Oh.
She had a broken hip, broken shoulder. She was in so much pain she couldn't even scream or cry. She was just sitting there crippled.
Like in shock,
and they took her out of there, and I said, after I saw that, I said, there's no way I'll ride a motorcycle on the street.
It's the other people. It's the other people. They have no awareness. There are some bikers that do drive terribly, like just that just don't, like they weave in and out and things like that, and that makes me nervous. I don't.
John still rides a motorized mobility scooter, probably.
Meep, meep. Yes.
Yep, did that.
That was the other day.
Bob says John's a 2%er. He uses 2% of his brain.
It's about right.
Yeah.
That's all that's left in there from all the accidents.
Dean says, I ran a bulldozer at 14 for my dad. Yeah, I used to drive my dad's dump truck.
That's crazy.
My Uncle Tony, Big T, had a dump truck. And Big T had a farm where I'm at right now. It used to be a farm, and we used to drive the dump truck, stick shift dump truck. 12 years old, we used to drive it around.
Oh, family business. That's what you do. Everybody works.
All right, everybody. Well, listen. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thanks for the stories.
For our 250th episode. So
250th episode of the Boomer Bunker / Bullhorn Boomer Bunker podcast.
We're glad you're here, Bob.
Yeah, and we'll be back. When will we be back? Thursday.
We will be back on Thursday. I think we might have had a text that might have come through.
Oh, well, you know what? We'll get to it Thursday. I promise I'll check on it on Thursday. All right, Dusty, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put you in charge.
Okay.
Can I put you in charge of the voicemails and everything? I'll let you figure out how to get in there, and we'll figure out how to get you in there, and you can do all that.
Okay.
I always forget. It's my fault. So what I'm going to do, like a Democrat, I'm going to blame somebody else and pawn it off.
There you go. And we need to be able to set up our categories in Discord. So if anybody wants to go back and listen to or reread, we have that there.
Okay, we can do that. All right,
I'm going to
Discord.
Discord.
I'm not going to make it into Discord tonight.
I'll go.
I have somebody that's upstairs waiting for me. Only got 2 more days, so heading upstairs.
You got to enjoy it.
All right, everyone. We'll talk to you Thursday night. Bye.
Definitely. Bye.